Hello, hello. Sean Ross Sapp here, Fightful.com. It is the Wednesday Night War podcast for January 8th. We are talking AEW. We are talking NXT. If you guys want some New Japan coverage, well, we talked about that this past weekend. Myself and Jeremy Lambert covered nights 1 and 2. Went back and forth between the two. Check that out over at FightfulPods.com or here on my channel. Still not monetized. We're working on it, okay? But leave a thumbs up. Subscribe anyway. Mr. Warren Hayes is here. He covered both nights of Wrestle Kingdom live after the fact. Let me just say this, Warren. Night 1 a little easier than night 2, yeah?
From a time
perspective, Warren.
Oh, from a time perspective, yes. From a time perspective, yes.
Night
2 was a little
better.
rougher to get through.
Yes.
On that level.
But we are also joined by Alex Palowski. You can catch his Raw and SmackDown reviews twice a week on FightfulSelect.com. FightfulSelect.com also had some exclusive news that we will talk about on this show. Alex, one word, who won? AEW or NXT?
NXT.
Yeah, I agree. NXT won. In fact, I would say AEW had one of its worst showings. And to be honest with you, since the Wednesday Night War, I would argue that NXT did too. But that's saying absolutely nothing because NXT is just always good. Usually so is AEW. I'm not making that argument tonight, but we're going to dive right into this NXT review. You have Rhea Ripley coming out to the ring. And then, just how we love it, Alex, the old interrupting promo.
Yeah, the interrupting promo parade. Yeah, it's not great. However, in this particular case, I was like, wow, yeah, the women's divisions of NXT are crazy deep. And there are women who are not even in this parade. You could have added probably 4 or 5 more before I would say, stop it, that's enough. The next woman you introduce is not a possible challenger for the title. Like, they could have easily gone like 9 women deep before they ever got to a point where I was like, well, that's a stretch. Like, they're just incredibly stacked top to bottom in NXT. And I did not love that it was a promo parade. But as promo parades go, I did not mind this because I thought there was enough individuality in all of them that it would actually, it wasn't just like talky. It was like, hey, Tony Storm says, hey, I know you. Remember how I beat you twice? And Io Shirai says, mine, and points at the belt. That was great. And Kaylee Ray comes out. She does her thing. I love her Scottish accent. I think that's great. It was very thick.
There's no way.
Yeah. You're not going to beat me on Sunday. But my favorite part is Bianca Belair coming out and going, okay, see, I know I'm better than you. I'm better than you. To Tony Storm, you don't even go here. And I was like, I'm done. That. I love Bianca Belair so much. I don't know why she's not on Raw or SmackDown right now as a top contender. Like, she'd immediately take over either brand on Monday and Friday, be one of the best things about watching either of those shows. Those shows are interminable to watch. If you had her electric charisma coming out there once or twice a night, it would make for so much more like interesting viewing. And as it is, she's like legitimately the 4th or 5th woman in line for the title right now on NXT. That's how much deeper NXT is than either Raw or SmackDown.
I gotta say, without a doubt, Bianca Belair's line or MJF's tweet mid-promo are the two best promo-related things that I've seen on either show in quite a few weeks. They're just really, really good stuff. The Bianca Belair line, you don't even go here. Perfect. We saw Io Shirai out there, too. There are rumors and speculation that she might not be happy with WWE or whatever that may be. I don't want to even say who that's attributed to because I think maybe Meltzer. Okay, so I just did say, but I don't know for sure. But if that's what he said, that's what he said. I don't think it would be a terrible idea to add Io to that Kairi Sane Asuka group, especially because I know that she'd fit in so well as far as what they're doing there, and it could spell them a little bit because they're rocking Asuka and Kairi till the wheels fall off right now.
Yeah, they could freebird the women's titles, and it would be so much fun.
Exactly.
With those three, my God, it'd be great.
Well, Ripley Storm and Candice LeRae ended up winning. Candice LeRae, happy, cheesy, throwing up both of their hands.
But they did the thing where like she was about to give Rhea Ripley the belt, but then she looked at it longingly and then was like, "Oh, just kidding. No, it's totally yours. It's fine." So listen, I don't know who's facing Rhea Ripley at TakeOver Portland. I assumed it was going to be Shayna, but she was nowhere to be found on tonight's episode. So
heard some stuff.
Yeah. Well, I wouldn't be surprised if the stuff that you heard. But to me, not having her like mention anything. Usually, if they lose the title, they get like a cursory like I'm leaving the company rematch. Mm-hmm. But we haven't seen hide nor hair of that, so I'm not sure. But I love that there are so many women who are possibilities to face Rhea Ripley at TakeOver Portland, because the Ripley era of women's wrestling in NXT is going to be so great because she has so many different partners she can wrestle, and all you gotta do is tweak her personality slightly. Either way, she can be a badass babyface or a monster heel. It depends on who she's wrestling. Anybody she faces, she can easily tweak it to be the perfect opponent for that challenger. It's gonna be great.
We get a message about donating to the Australian bushfires. Seriously, if you all get a chance to do that, please do it. There are a lot of terrified people over there. There's a lot of rough things going on in Australia right now. We also see a video package narrated by Tommaso Ciampa where he talks about reclaiming the NXT Championship match. We still don't know what's up with NXT in the Royal Rumble. We have been given no indication. If he is in the Royal Rumble, I think there's a solid chance he wins it. I have a bit of a non-update coming to Fightful Select this week about WrestleMania in that regard. I'll just say it's wide open right now. It is wide open, and there's a lot of wrestlers that are very happy about it being wide open, and you'll kind of hear why in that update. Subscribe to FightfulSelect.com. But then we get the 2020 Dusty Rhodes Classic opening round match. Imperium defeated the Forgotten Sons. I think I have found religion, Warren. Just because the Forgotten Sons lost.
Oh, yeah, no, for sure. Imperium are fantastic. You know, Marcel Bartel is legitimately one of the most underappreciated talents that WWE has swooped up. He was fantastic in WXW, and he hasn't, they tried him out with the single stuff a little bit on NXT, I think, last year, before pairing him with Aichner and then the Imperium stuff, and he's really found his footing. And he's actually the mouthpiece of the group as well, because he can cut a promo. Aichner is, I've watched him since when I was doing the NXT UK stuff for Select. He's grown so much into a credible, like, tough guy, like a badass. Whereas, geez, he was in the Cruiserweight Classic just a couple of years ago. He's put on the beef. He looks good at what he does. He's in a great position. Look, Forgotten Sons is what it is, but Imperium, man, they're heads above. This is fantastic. It's the right team won.
Yeah.
Yes, and I will also say it's the best straight up tag match I've ever seen Forgotten Sons wrestle. Like they've been really good in like multi-team matches where they don't have to actually carry their load throughout the whole thing. I thought they were good in the ladder match, the Street Profits one, but I don't love them as an act. But this match, I thought this was super fun. Like there were no like extended babyface in peril spots. There was nothing like that. It was all just straight up. You hit me as hard as you can. I'll hit you as hard as I can back. Let's do that for 7 minutes. And I was like, can all of the first round matches be this?
Ingredients are there.
Spoiler alert. No, they can't. But I did love this match a lot. You're right. The right team won. But I thought the Forgotten Sons, especially Cutler now with the freshly shorn hair, it looks a little different. It allows you to immediately identify if it's him or Blake in the ring, which is nice. But yeah, I thought this was a lot of fun for what it was. I thought it was going to be a total dud of an opening round match, but Forgotten Sons got to said like they did a sprint, and that was a lot of fun.
We talked about mouthpieces. You know who I'd have as Pete Dunne's mouthpiece if I could? Larry the Cable Guy, so he could say, Peter Dunne. Let's fucking go! I'm a genius. They're going to take this idea that done plenty of them. Hey, what did we see this week? A male manager for a female wrestler. Saw it. What did we see? Brand split clarity. When you see Larry the Cable Guy on NXT TV saying, Peter Dunne, you're welcome. You're welcome. FightfulSelect.com. Please subscribe. Instead, Matt Riddle is interviewed backstage about teaming up with Pete Dunne. Not much there, but then we see Austin Theory defeating Joaquin Wilde. Now, Joaquin Wilde is the former DJZ. He's an outstanding wrestler, but he is such a curious signing for WWE because based on what we know of him, it's very much like when they signed Gunner. It's very much like when they signed Dexter Lumis. It's like, okay, we've seen what they have on a national TV basis for years in TNA wrestling. And it doesn't seem like something that will break out under the WWE umbrella. But it's like at the same time, if that guy were wrestling in NWA, if that guy were wrestling in MLW, I feel like he would stand out a little bit more. Now, granted, he would not get near the attention, but he would be a bigger fish in that smaller pond. But that being said, Austin Theory is really awesome. He's really impressive. Joaquin Wilde is very good. He was a really good opponent to have here, Alex. It's just, Joaquin's been battling, I think he had an eye surgery this year, or an orbital surgery this year, and he ended up getting beaten. So it doesn't look like anything's in the cards for him right now, but Austin Theory winning this, obviously the right move.
Yeah, I mean, Joaquin Wilde came to the ring looking like the third member of Daft Punk, and it was just really weird that it was like he has to like really bend his head down to get in through the ropes,
and
like,
had to hold
really
it.
Weird.
Had to hold it too.
Had to hold it in place so it wouldn't fall off his head, which was a really great design of your headgear to walk to the ring if you can't get into the ring while wearing it.
Max Moon never had to hang on to his headgear.
Goddamn right he didn't.
Yeah, I think Austin Theory, like, he's 22 years old. So, like, you figure out, like, he's chiseled out of granite. Like, it does feel like somebody, like plugged a little, like, something into Vince McMahon's id and says, design what a wrestler looks like. And he's like, pal, yeah. And that's what it came out with. I thought the match was fine. Let's establish Austin Theory as a thing throughout the first half of 2020. Maybe by the end of the year, he's getting title shots, like, or maybe even earlier, depending on how I want to push him. But I think it's kind of interesting to like ease him into this. I liked his match versus Roderick Strong on Christmas Day. I will say we skipped right over the fact that Matt Riddle and Pete Dunne have a tag team name. It's the Broserweights.
No.
Right away, I'm sold.
It's Peter Dunne, but yeah, the Broserweights. Yeah, sure.
Broserweights is great.
Sure. I'll say this. I'm glad Matt Riddle's doing something. It does seem like his profile decreased a little bit and his mystique decreased a little bit over the past 3 months. And I don't think they needed to do that to get Killian Dane over, quite frankly.
I also feel like this is a prime team to have problems in the tournament and then get into a one-on-one feud.
Sure.
In which case, Peter Dunne versus Matt Riddle, you can give me that a few times. I'd like to watch that.
Yeah, get her done indeed. Damien Priest is getting dressed backstage with the assistance of 2 young women. This is read straight from Ryan Cook's description of the event. So, I'm focusing on AEW a little bit, and some of this catches me off guard.
I will say this: it is an accurate description.
Amazing. See, this guys is why I have Alex focus on one show, Warren focus on one, and I try to take in both of them. Sometimes I miss something. Oh boy. Another opening round match. Undisputed Era's Bobby Fish and Kyle O'Reilly are going to defeat Gallus, who it may come as a surprise, but they are from the NXT UK brand. They are white. They do have beards. I know, it's completely unlike anything you'll see in European wrestling today or ever. Alex, how'd you feel about this one?
Didn't love it. Like UE is my jam. Like I love watching Fish and O'Reilly work. Like they're always undersized. They always find ways of chopping down bigger dudes. Their selling is always fantastic. All this stuff. Gallus is not my bag, baby. Like they've never been at all, and it's just a weird thing. Like I don't know what it would take for them to be my bag, baby. But it's not this. It's not this match.
They're a bag.
Didn't work out at all.
They're a bag.
And like the thing about it is like I feel like I know they are the NXT UK tag champs. That would not be my choice. I don't think they should be at this point. But you have to protect them in some way. They've got a title match on Saturday or whenever it is. So you have to protect them. But I don't feel like UE should need a well-placed Enziguri from Adam Cole to put these guys away. Like have a match. It's just a weird deal.
The thing with Gallus is Wolfgang he's a good big man, right? A good big man. You know, but nothing more out of the ordinary than that. Mark Coffey, bless his heart, is not Joe. Joe carries himself like a superstar. He's still learning, and I think, honest to God, you look at Joe Coffey wrestle, especially when he's in big match situations, and you look at how he carries himself, how he cuts his promos. He's another Triple H. Like this guy if he connects, if there's something that clicks, he is going to fly because he really has the look, the attitude, the way he carries himself. Mark is his brother, and he ended up with the bad side of the genes on that one. It's like
I just love the idea of Joe Coffey does all this thing. He carries himself like a superstar, but like Mark is his brother.
Well, that's pretty much
that's all
it.
you can say about Mark Coffey.
But that's it. You have both guys next to each other, and Mark looks like a dude.
Yep.
And Joe looks like the star.
You can be Jose Canseco or you can be Ozzy Canseco. Both of them made the big leagues, but I get the feeling a lot of people are going to Google Ozzy Canseco here in a few minutes and go, wow, he's a thing?
You know, you can be Peter Stastny, but you can also be a Marion Stastny.
Yeah.
Did you know that Jose Canseco used to send Ozzy to like autograph signings and stuff?
Yeah, as him.
Really?
Yes. Brilliant.
Yes.
Brilliant. I love it. If you all have the chance, watch the Bash Brothers Netflix special with The Lonely Island. That's good stuff there. Johnny Gargano comes out to the ring and talks about his past month and his rivalry with Finn Balor. And I thought this was a really good promo. Johnny invites Finn to the ring, but Finn won't take the bait. Says that they can have a match at Portland if he can make it long enough. Now, the thing I loved about Johnny Gargano is he said that years ago when you got the call to come up to the main roster, WWE Raw and SmackDown, you couldn't leave quick enough. You couldn't drop that flag on the floor quick enough. Meanwhile, I got the call in August, and I said no. And not only that, he didn't just get the call in August. He got the call in, like, February or March, too. Like, we're seeing this more and more where people are like, you know, I think I would rather work a lot less dates and chill out in Florida and work TV on Wednesdays, do the occasional loop.
Oh my God! Just imagine though, like what Vince would do with Johnny Gargano after like the first 4 months fizzled out. Like it'd be like, he knows what he's doing.
There's a very good chance that he would have been in the Tozawa spot this week. And
the thing that I loved about all of that was the inevitable conclusion of that line of thinking, which was, and then you did leave, and we got better without you, and that kills you. That we took off and soared, and we didn't need you, and that's what's eating at you, and that's why you came back, and that's a great line of thinking. I don't know if it's true, but I believe it's true, and I know Johnny believes it's true, and that's all you need for a good wrestling promo.
I thought this was just really good stuff, but maybe my favorite thing on this show was a simple announcement. Alex Shelley will team with Kushida, take on the grizzled young veterans next week. That is so awesome. The Timesplitters back together. Kushida is one of my favorite workers in the world. Alex Shelley. The thing is, like, I grew up watching a lot of people like Benoit and stuff like that, Bret Hart. I think Alex Shelley might have been the first person that I looked at and was like, man, submission wrestling is really cool. I watched him a lot in TNA in the 2000s when I thought from 2004 to 2009-ish that it was the best cable wrestling TV show around. I was telling Warren and Alex off the air that I think that Paparazzi Productions and the stuff that Alex Shelley did with Kevin Nash is the most consistently funny stuff that I have ever seen on pro wrestling TV. If you haven't seen that, go check it out in all of its 140p glory on the TNA Wrestling YouTube channel. It is hilarious. It is Alex Shelley trying to teach Kevin Nash how to be an X Division wrestler. It is Alex Shelley, like, creeping on people, like creeping on Sting and Eric Young in grocery stores and stuff like that. It is amazing, and he is an outstanding worker. Warren, what do you think about this move to bring in Alex Shelley, who I don't know if he's signed. I doubt it, but...
Look, you just said it yourself. The Timesplitters are back, and that's most of what a lot of us just need to know, because that's really, really good news. And you know what's good? You know what's fun? Is that this is a legitimate surprise, and it's a legitimate surprise for wrestling fans, for people who know who we're talking about. There is reason to get excited about it. It's not just like, oh, his surprise partner is going to be Cameron Grimes. How will they ever get along? They both like the hat so much. It's nothing like that. It's really, it's something that's a little out of the blue, because like you said, is he signed? We don't know. So this is cool.
When they made the announcement in the arena, you could hear shocked screams from people. Yeah. Like, they could not believe it was happening. Like, that's a big deal. Like, that's one of those things, like, that's a true surprise. Because, again, like, when they announced it, I was like, I had to, like, go back and look. Like, did they sign him and I missed that? Like, was I not paying attention that day when the news broke? Oh, okay, so this is, like, out of the blue. Now, I'm not as familiar with the Timesplitters oeuvre because I wasn't watching a lot of, like, out of the country stuff when they were working in New Japan. At that time, I was, like, watching the pay-per-views, and that's it. Like it was a rough time like at night for me when I was working and I was acting. You have rehearsals all night, so I kind of like maybe YouTube a thing from Raw here or there. But when I started working with Fightful, that was all gone, and so I wasn't paying attention to that, whatever. But I'm like, I know what a big deal it is that the Timesplitters are back together, and they're in NXT, at least for this tournament. Now, the best thing about it is if they win their first match,
which they should.
They should. They get O'Reilly and Fish in the second round.
So here's the thing. Like, one of my favorite matches of all time is Battle of the Super Juniors.
There you go.
Kushida and Kyle O'Reilly.
Yep.
Oh, boy. I had been out of the gym for probably a solid year after that, and I watched that match, and I was like, I'm going to go wrestle today. I was like, I'm going to go learn some chain stuff today. That's how it's so good. They've got such natural chemistry. It didn't seem like they even called anything like before the match. It seemed like it was all on the fly and natural, and they've just got that unspoken chemistry. And I can't wait to see how Alex Shelley and Bobby Fish play into that as well in NXT. Warren, this is...
I mean, I think you guys are selling the grizzled young veterans a little short.
Oh, piss off, mate.
But look, I'll at least say this. Because I do agree. I mean, it would be such a waste to just have it just peter out.
Only, yep.
Oh my God. But I do have to underscore the work of Zach Gibson, who, alongside Marcel Bartel, is one of the unsung heroes of NXT UK. That dude is amazing. He is so consistent in the ring and one of the best mic workers in the entire company. So it will be a fun match next week. It'll be a bit of a heartbreaker for me to see Zach Gibson lose again, but I mean, the upside is it will comfort me much, much more.
If you guys want to see a bit of a preview of what we could be looking forward to in not Red Dragon anymore, Undisputed Era and Timesplitters, I think Power Struggle 14. I think Final Battle 2014. I know they had some interactions at Wrestle Kingdom the following year, and they've done a couple of other matches. Oh man, really good stuff there.
Yeah, this tournament field makes me wish that the prize was a match versus UE, because I would love to see Timesplitters go through the whole thing.
Yeah,
and win the tournament, and then because of that they get their match versus UE. Having UE in the tournament makes me think there's no way they could possibly lose. But if it's a non-title match, which it would be in this tournament, they could lose to Kushida and Shelley, and then wind up feuding with them down the road after Kushida and Shelley win the tournament, if Shelley actually signs long term. This is all just coming together so haphazardly that I'm looking at all the angles, and I can't wait to see what they do with it.
Mia Yim defeated Caden Carter. This one was not for me, but after the match, Mia gets laid out by Chelsea Green. Oh, man, Mia sold this poorly. She got fallen into barely and then tumbles out of the ring. It needs some work, man. And the thing is, Mia's been there for a long time. Mia's been around for a long time. She had a really good Mae Young Classic run, but I mean, the thing is, I'd seen her on TV for so long before that, I was like, all right, she's turned a corner, but a lot of this work, even the character stuff, it just doesn't seem natural.
Yeah, I mean, the sell of the attack, I will put straight on the believability of where they put her. I knew they had to do it for the camera angle, but she was staring directly up the ramp.
Yeah,
there's no way she could have been surprised by Chelsea Green running down the ramp to attack her. So she didn't sell it because there was no way for her to sell it because she saw it happening. The match was whatever, just trying to pitch Caden Carter as a up and comer, see where she actually goes in the next year or so, getting matches under her belt. That's fine. As the match was happening, I was like, well, Dakota Kai runs in and attacks. Otherwise, this doesn't make any sense. Why is this match even happening?
Yeah.
But it wasn't Dakota Kai. It was Chelsea Green, which I was like, Chelsea Green's had matches on 2 straight episodes of Main Event, 1-1. She had an awesome match, I thought, with Charlotte on Raw. I thought that it was a really good showing for her, and it brought out a cool fire in Charlotte that you don't
They announced her as a new member of the division, so I was like, all right, cool, she's on Raw now. But I will say this, credit to Robert Stone for saying free agent signing. That cleared it up a little bit. I like that, because I've been asking them to, and a lot of people have said, well, NXT and Raw are on USA, and I'm like, okay, then just say that. Just say, just have William Regal say, well, we've got a little bit more flexibility because USA wants us to compete with Fox, yada, yada. As reported on FightfulSelect.com today, by the way, Robert Stone making his debut on NXT TV. What do we got to do to get Malcolm Bivens on television?
I don't know.
What the hell is... Let's be honest. Malcolm Bivens as Stokely Hathaway should have been on Monday Night Raw,
immediately,
as soon as AOP were out there. When they kicked Paul Ellering to the curb, he should have met Stokely Hathaway on the ramp, and Stokely just took him from him. That's what should have happened. But instead, they wasted a year and a half of those guys' lives.
Yeah.
Just because they didn't have the confidence in how they could book them without having them in a main event angle. And now, fortunately, they got something good going on. Get Stokely on TV. Jesus Christ. But hey, a male manager for a female talent? Warren, I'm digging that. It's something I've been begging for a while on the show.
Sure. I mean, it's some. Why not do the little role reversal thing? It'll work. It'll work. Why wouldn't it work? It's a good idea. Just mixes everything up and makes sense as well. But I mean, Stokely is one of the best things about wrestling internet right now. Malcolm Bivens. He really, really is. On Twitter, every time he posts stuff, it's brilliant. There's always just an extra level to everything he does, which is fantastic. on one hand, I'm like, yes, put this guy on TV, but then I'm also afraid as to what creative will deliver unto him, because what makes Malcolm Bivens special is Malcolm Bivens, and it is not a writer's room, and it's not Vince McMahon.
Lots of people in the comments are like, well, isn't he managing that giant? No, that's what they do on live events doesn't have a damn thing. No. Robert Stone had not been managing Chelsea Green on the live events. He had been managing Riddick Moss and Dorian Mock. Don't think we're going to see them anytime soon. But meanwhile, you got Malcolm doing all this other stuff. I don't think the big man that they signed like a year ago, or they signed the same class as Matt Riddle and had never wrestled before, I don't think he's exactly ready. Don't think he's taken to it like a duck to water.
No, he's gigantic, though.
Yeah, he is big.
Yeah, he's a very big dude.
When him and Matt signed, Matt sent me these pictures of him. I was like, God damn!
Yeah. I agree with everything you're saying about the Malcolm Bivens and his overall greatness. I like the Robert Stone thing as far as I've seen, like what they're doing with it. The comically oversized glasses conjure up Harvey Whippleman to me, so I'm cool with that. And he did say it's the first signing to the Robert Stone brand, so I wonder who the subsequent signings will be. I'm wondering if Deonna Purrazzo will be a signing to that brand, because they've been marketing her and Chelsea Green as a tandem unit. They have logos with the same font, for crying out loud. So if they're going to split them up, interesting. I don't know what that means for Deonna, but I would like it to see if every week for the next month or so we get Robert Stone bringing out a new signing, co-ed stable managed by Robert Stone.
We don't see co-ed stables or anything like that, and we really should.
Well, in NWA we do.
Fair. Keith Lee defeated Cameron Grimes, Dominik Dijakovic, and Damien Priest to gain an NXT North American Championship match. Good stuff. Big shocker, Alex.
Well, I mean, the thing is that it's predictable in that I couldn't see anybody else having having a storyline, build up to a match with Roderick Strong. It didn't make a lot of sense for any of the other three to do it, but sometimes the predictable decision is still the right one.
Sure.
And this was great. It built him even more. I thought that all four guys looked great in the match. There was a lot of cool stuff that each of them got to do with pairings. Cameron Grimes got to do a deadlift German suplex to Dominik Dijak. That was awesome. There was another spot where he was about to do a missile dropkick or something from the top rope into the ring. And then Dominik got up and was rushing at him. So he said, no, instead, I'm going to do a moonsault outside of the ring. Like, it was like he had a moment. It was like, well, the plan A is not going to work. I'm going to try plan B. And it did work. That was great. The cave in on Dijak on the apron was excellent. I love that Keith Lee's new gimmick is now like rising up from out of frame to attack somebody. That's his new thing. He does all the time now. I'm here for it. This was all fantastic. Keith Lee absolutely is the right guy to push. I think he's the guy who's going to take the title off of Roderick Strong. I think he's going to have a nice long reign. Unless they decide we got to get this guy up on Monday or Saturday by WrestleMania. I don't know either. But and again, if we're getting NXT guys in the Royal Rumble, he's certainly a dark horse. Like, you can tell how over he is wherever he goes. You could make him into a star.
Could it be that Survivor Series weekend has got him more over? Because he was already over. But the reactions he was getting tonight, they were tremendous. Yeah. It was huge stuff. Of course, I just popped on over from AEW tonight. I was maybe starving for some excitement, but it was really astounding to me just how loud the reactions he was getting. Good for him and good for Keith Lee. If Survivor Series weekend and facing off with Roman Reigns at the end of the Survivor Series match that they had, if that helped boost him in the eyes of fans everywhere, good, because by God, that guy is amazing.
Well, that was NXT, but let me talk to you guys about something very important. Penis. Erect penis. Erect penises performing exceptionally. That's what happens when you take Blue Chew from BlueChew.com. Brings you the first chewable with the same FDA-approved active ingredients as Viagra and Cialis. So you know they work. You know they're effective. But they're a little bit more effective. They're cheaper. They're better for your erect penis. That's because it's chewable. You can get it into your system a lot faster. It's a lot quicker because you don't have to wait in line at the pharmacy. It's prescribed online by Blue Chew affiliated physicians and comes straight to your door discreetly. That's right. You can get an erect penis, and you can get it rather discreetly. BlueChew.com. By using that code FIGHTFUL, you get your first shipment for free. Just pay $5 shipping. That's it. It's good stuff. You don't have to have a problem with erectile dysfunction in order to take Blue Chew, although it will get your penis erect. It will. That's the long and the short of it. Hopefully the long of it, but if it's the short of it too, you know what? Blue Chew's performance will give you that confidence you need to make you perform. What are you laughing at, Warren?
No, it feels so very didactic tonight. The read, it's like
I don't know what that means, and I think you know that I don't know what that means, and I'm going to take it as an insult. If you want to die with that dick, take BlueChew.com. Code FIGHTFUL. So from now on, we're not going to say things like that because I'm going to take it as disrespect. Much like I took this episode of AEW, which was not good. And
can we preface this real quick, Sean? Because I feel we need to.
Sure.
Last week, AEW had arguably its best episode so far.
Yeah.
And we were excited about it. And we love wrestling. You and I, Sean, and Alex as well. And we want companies to do well. And we really do. And we appreciate it. And we are not afraid to come out and say when things are good and it's objective and we try to be as fair as possible. But it's not going to be possible tonight. It really isn't. And honestly, I like AEW because I want it to succeed, because I think what they do is important.
yes.
But tonight was not it. And this is a path that they have to quickly jump off of. And it boggles my mind how quickly they pivoted back to this after coming back after the New Year's break with something so exceptional, something where you're like, yes, let's keep going down this road. I dig this. That they flip over to this, and I'm just confused. I'm really, really confused, and I'm disappointed. I feel like a disappointed dad, which is strange.
Well, tonight was a night where established tag teams got beat by like part-time tag teams. Kenny Omega and Hangman Page defeated Private Party. There are a lot of questions about Hangman Page and what's going on with him and all that. What'd you think about this match, Warren?
I thought it was off. I really, really thought the match was off. And, taking the time to look at it, and, I even tweeted it out just to make sure it wasn't just me or the frame rate was really slow on my end. I found Private Party just weren't there tonight. I thought that their movesets weren't connecting properly. I thought Mark Quinn was slow. He had one exchange where he was fighting off Omega and Page at once, and he was just turning around. He was doing like he was Awesome Kong for a second there. I was not impressed. I thought Page and Omega's offense had some spark to it, but I thought Private Party, and this is odd because they're usually quite explosive and really, really good. And I thought they dragged the match down. I didn't think it was all that great.
They did not look TV ready for one of the first times that I've seen them. Backstage, Pac is shown attacking Michael Nakazawa before demanding that Kenny Omega give him a rubber match.
At this point, Nakazawa should just stay home. It's not as if they're booking him.
Or lock the door or something.
Just stay around with people. Have people constantly with you.
Never
you know,
alone. Never alone. Always witnesses.
They got to do a BTE skit where Michael Nakazawa is like the stereotypical horror movie idiot, where it's like, don't go in the room. Do not go up the stairs. Pac is there. And he does.
Or I was also thinking they should do the thing like a Ferris Bueller or something, where like he puts a bunch of basketballs in the bed and then puts the covers over them. Yes. And Pac comes in and starts beating up the bed. Oh, damn it. Where are you?
So Brandi Rhodes joins commentary for the next match, which, quite frankly, I think had the greatest finish in wrestling history. Everything associated with this was great, and I will sing the praises of this as much as I can, as often as I can, and it doesn't have anything to do with the fact that Brandi Rhodes might be cutting my hair for a charitable cause and that I think that bad things could happen to me. It has nothing to do with the fact that Awesome Kong carries a knife around. Nothing at all to do with that. I loved all this. Warren, did you love it as much as I did?
No. Sean,
Shut up.
I'm sorry, Sean. I'm sorry. Like, I have no player in this game
here. No, but seriously, all this was a disappointment. The match was a disappointment. The finish was a disappointment. The angle was miserable. Legitimately, not just saying this, Brandi's commentary was probably the best thing about this. She's good as a character in that regard, but this wasn't good. Rio doesn't need to be champ. The finish sucked. Oh, it was so bad.
There were so many shenanigans during this match. That's one of the main problems, is that the match didn't have time to really stretch its legs. Statlander and Rio had a bit of a feeling out period at first. And, all wrestling matches start with a, feeling out period. No, but they legitimately had a feeling out period at first where they were trying to do stuff and it was looking a little weird, when Rio does her Matrix escape from the pinfall. I understand that whoever's pinning her can't go crush her with her body because she won't be able to pull it off. But Jesus, Statlander left like 3 feet between her and Rio. And I'm like, all right, come on. And some stuff just it just never got cooking. And I feel that if they had left, you could feel that they were sort of that they were finally clicking. Things were building to something, but then the Nightmare Collective arrived, and all of the shenanigans was a disappointment. Japanese deathmatch legend Luther, Sean.
So I feel like I have seen probably 0 Luther matches in my life, and I've been watching wrestling for 30 years.
I legitimately thought it was Bald Gangrel when he came out. That's what it looked like to me. I was like, Gangrel? Oh no, it's not. It's somebody named Luther. All the shenanigans. I thought this. Was this a DQ match? Because there was a lot of interference for there not to be called anything.
That's the thing. Refs get buried again. Are there DQs in this company or not? Tony Khan, hit me up. EVPs, hit me up. Are there DQs in this company? If so, why are we enforcing the rules? Why are we doing that? Why are we enforcing rope breaks? I have not seen a 1 DQ. 3 months of TV, not 1 DQ. So tell me, what motivation does any wrestler have to let go of a hold when the opponent grabs the ropes? Well, maybe they just don't want to hold on to a submission because they have broken the plane of the ring and they can't submit them. But if they want to hurt their opponent, there ain't no other reason. I know one thing, the debut of Luther hurt me, and I wish somebody would have disqualified TNT for that, because that didn't need to happen. We don't need Luther.
Yeah.
No, we don't. And here's what else we don't need. We don't need the Nightmare Collective angle co-opting the entire women's division, because what happened at the end? You had Sheeta run in, and you had Big Swole run in, so you had all the baby faces. I like that Britt Baker sort of stayed on the sidelines, was like, nah, I don't have a dog in this fight no more. There's no reason for this angle to co-opt the entire women's division. There just isn't. And because what is the end game here? What is the end game? A match with Awesome Kong, 40 years old, banged up, that is not even close to being who she used to be? A match with Brandi? A match with Mel? What is the end game to the Nightmare Collective? It's not working, and even if you try to think about it long term, it's not. It doesn't make sense. They had an exciting prospect of a match here tonight. Now, are all the baby faces? Are they all going to align again with each other to fight off the nasty Nightmare Collective? Does that mean that we're not going to get a world title match at some point between, or in the next few months, between Chris Statlander and Sheeta, because they have to fight off the baddies? Tonight sort of exasperated me, because now it feels like it's the blanket thing over the entire women's division, a women's division that had actually started building some goodwill, that we started to get behind. It was like, yeah, there's stuff happening. Finally, they've got some great signings. They got some great women, but then this and the Luther stuff, I've checked out.
Luther made it so much worse too. That's the thing. Yeah. Like, I would have thought that it was a bad finish, but I wouldn't have thought it was in the early runnings to be one of the worst finishes of 2020 if the Luther thing wasn't there. Like, it was so out of place.
Yeah, him pointing to the paint on his forehead over and over again was really weird. Like, I've got a dot on my forehead. Look at it. Look at the dot.
Here's the other thing. Japanese deathmatch legend, whatever. Why are you bringing in deathmatch guys again into AEW when you have a deathmatch guy who hasn't even bled once? He hasn't even bled on TV once. I don't understand what they're doing.
So here's the thing. Like, I don't have a problem with the Nightmare Collective doing the Nightmare Collective thing. I wish they wouldn't do the Straight Edge Society straight rip. Hey, cut their hair off. That's it. Take a lock of their hair. Say that's how you get in. That's how you prove it. Whatever. I like adding Melanie Cruz, sure. Riho and Hikaru Shida came out, or they helped afterwards. Britt Baker did not help. She sat in the crowd, watched along. I'm cool with that. Adding the edge that she needs. Britt was the only person that benefited from this segment. There were like 12 people here, and one person benefited. You could argue that maybe Big Swole did just because she got her face on TV.
The convolution of this segment and this whole angle is exactly why I was so disappointed not disappointed, but just didn't make any sense to me why AEW would not have driven a truck full of money up to Mercedes Martinez's house. Maybe they did, and she said no.
Yeah.
But like she's so great, so established. She's a straight up women's wrestler with all this gimmickery and crap. Like, just have her be this person that all your young people chase. And after a few years, if you say she's too old or whatever, and she leaves, but at least for the first few years, you could establish a regular-ass women's division before throwing all this shamockery all over it.
I was very surprised that Impact Wrestling, as soon as Santana and Ortiz left, didn't pivot and bring in Diamante, Ivelisse, and Mercedes as new LAX. Like, with the depth of their women's division, to be like, all right, well, we've lost an LAX before. We replaced a guy with Machete. We lost him again. Well, we've got Santana and Ortiz. Bringing in 3 familiar, really good women's workers and doing that, I'm like, man, that seemed like it just made a ton of sense. But Mercedes is signed by WWE, according to SoCal Uncensored. And let me tell you, that one got some attention. That was one of our most trafficked articles over the past month. I did not expect that. That was very good. We see a video package for Kip Sabian and Penelope Ford. Then Sammy Guevara defeated Christopher Daniels. This based off of the really a match built on the botches from Christopher Daniels and whether or not he still got it. Another dumb finish because Pentagon is out on the ramp talking trash and Guevara lays out Daniels. Man, some of these finishes, AEW does a lot of distraction finishes and a lot of interference finishes, Warren.
Yeah. And when commentary is putting over the fact that Christopher Daniels is, he's this veteran, and especially when Evil Uno, when he came out, I don't want to jump the gun too much, but when he came out and did his promo talking about how Daniels' fingerprints are all over pro wrestling and his influence and so on and so forth. If he loses a match because he gets distracted because the dude is up on the ramp talking, I'm like, you haven't learned much.
Those are some pretty big fingerprints. That happens all the time.
Yes.
Maybe he was the one who started it, and everybody else has been following suit. My biggest thing with the Dark Order, aside from the fat guy in the
besides the fact that they suck.
Yeah, but I mean, like, aside from that specific thing, that I don't understand why I'm supposed to be listening to this dude in the mask with the button all the way up to the collar and the sport coat and the weird fitting khakis. I don't know why. Their tough guy is named Stu. Stu is not a tough guy's name. Like, the actual dude named Stu had to change his name to the much cooler and tougher sounding name of Wade in order to actually get over as a tough guy.
Tell me any time you saw Tommy Pickles' dad get his ass kicked. Tell me one time. You didn't. Well, Chucky Finster never messed with him.
In my head canon, he was getting his ass kicked every day off camera. So
damn, man. So that did happen. Whatever. It's setting up SCU and Dark Order, but it's so generic. It's such a generic setup.
Is it setting up them? Is it setting up them in Dark Order? Is it setting up the Young Bucks in Dark Order? Like, everybody just wants to fight the Dark Order, but just the Dark Order is just there to, like, say, join us, here's a mask, and have the mask thrown back at them. Yeah. Yay.
If I were to be presented with the problem of the Dark Order, I would have them wrestle jobbers. I would have them crush dudes, and then at the end of the match, pull up the dudes and say, we beat you tonight. If you don't want us to beat you again, if you want to be able to beat other people, wear these masks. And then you see the formation of the creeps. Then you start to understand why there's half a dozen weirdos hanging around them all the time. I would have taken more time with, what's her name, Silver and whatever. I would have taken more time and not just focus it on BTE.
They did it in like 2 weeks on TV.
Yeah, exactly.
Whoa.
In one episode, and like 2 episodes of BTE. I would have taken a little more time to draft these guys. I would establish the fact that they are dominant, because I don't understand why SCU, outside of the beating from last 3 weeks ago, outside of that beating, I don't know why the Bucks and SCU want to go after him that much. There's no reason to it. And I've said it once, and I'll say it again. It breaks my heart because the Dark Order, formerly known as Super Smash Bros., are really, really good. Stu Grayson has the potential to be a breakout star in AEW. They're being booked too haphazardly for them to really get over and use their strengths to their advantage. It wouldn't take much, I don't think, but they have to establish them as credible threats. And right now, it's just like, oh, it's these guys again, as opposed to them being really restrained. And why would Stu Grayson jump back into the ring to fight off 4 guys?
Dumb.
Why did he do that?
Now,
he jumped into the ring and said, 4, I like these odds. No, Stu. No, you don't.
Reynolds and Silver lost to, like, I think Inner Circle and Best Friends in October, Jurassic Express in December. They should have lost to every single team on the roster. Private Party, Lucha Brothers, Young Bucks, Cody and Dustin. Should have happened. Every single team on the roster should have beaten them and gotten a win, a quick win, to really establish that these guys were losers that needed something. They needed a change. Instead, we got BTE, which honestly, not everybody watches, and less people seem to watch. I see less buzz about it now than before AEW TV, because quite frankly, there's more AEW content on. Not as many people are watching AEW Dark either. And some of these stories have to be put forth on Dynamite. You can't assume that everybody is watching everything with all the content that we see, and I just feel like they didn't do a good job conveying that. They are doing a good job, I think, conveying that Arn Anderson is helping turn around Cody's career. He and Dustin Rhodes beat the Lucha Brothers. I thought this was fine. You all know how I feel about Pentagon's work. On the other hand, I think Dustin Rhodes gives whatever effort Pentagon isn't giving, Dustin Rhodes gives like 2 or 3 times as much.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have a problem with Cody and Dustin winning, but Pentagon and Phoenix losing seems a little off unless they're going to go somewhere with that, because you got Pentagon trying to fight Christopher Daniels, but he just lost, and it's hard for me to be interested in watching 2 losers fight, Warren.
It's been a while since the Lucha Bros actually pulled off a big deciding win. And they are supposed to be tag team specialists. They're supposed to be, as commentary likes to say, one of the best tag teams in the world, along with the Young Bucks, which is really strange. You keep saying that the Young Bucks and Lucha Bros are 2 of the best tag teams in the world. Yes, yet they have tag team champions. Anyway, it's a strange combination. You can argue that, Dustin and Cody, they're brothers and they have that brother connection, like Jim Ross pointed out during commentary. These are real brothers, not wrestling brothers. So that can help, I guess, in a tag team situation. But the Lucha Brothers are tag team specialists. They've been doing that. They've been doing this shtick for a long, long time. I don't like it when 2 singles guys come out and beat an established tag team. I just don't like it. But I
buy Cody and Dustin as a tag team. I mean, they were former WWE tag champions.
No, like I said, you can make an argument for it. I thought this match was okay. I like Rey Fenix a lot. I think he's fantastic. He had a nice hook kick at some point with a really nice rolling cutter and the running tightrope kick on Cody. But you could tell that they were put in a position where they had to wrestle more of a, I'm afraid to use the term standard, but allow me the use here, more of a standard type of tag team match as opposed to something a little more spot heavy with the Bucks. And, it wasn't quite as thrilling as it usually is, but this was fine. This was an okay match.
We have people that say, the Lucha Brothers don't lose all the time. They were finalists for the tag. Pentagon has won 2 of his last 9 matches in AEW.
There you go.
2 of his last 9 matches he has won there. He beat Christopher Daniels in that miserable match, and then he and Rey Fenix beat Adam Page and Kenny Omega. Other than that, he was losing Trent on Dark, for the love of God. He isn't winning a lot. This ain't Lucha Underground Season 1 Pentagon we're talking about here. After the match, Tony Schiavone interviews Cody and Arn Anderson. They say that they will get back to Schiavone about the match, but MJF comes out to the ring with Wardlow and calls out Cody. Now, Cody's absence is very curious in multiple spots here. He calls Cody a coward, says that Cody is afraid to face him, calls him a little bitch, and DDP comes out. 60-something-year-old DDP. Looking like he has eaten 0 of the gluten. Looks in great shape. And he cuts a promo, and it is kind of hilarious that MJF tweeted from the ring, "Will this old guy ever shut the hell up?"
Was that fantastic?
That was great. We see the Butcher and the Blade, and then there's a big brawl that breaks out. And Dustin's out there.
Hang on. There's a big brawl that breaks out. It's DDP who fights off the Butcher and the Blade all by himself. Yep. And then he sort of gets thrown into Wardlow, who sort of just chest bumps him off. Wardlow looked like a dope in the ring because he didn't do anything. They all looked like dopes because none of them decide to triple or quadruple team the Hall of Famer guy. I don't care how great you are with DDP yoga, how much it tones and renders your body flexible so that you can do things never thought imagined before. But you're 4 guys on one dude. Your odds are pretty good. This was, man. And And I didn't care for DDP's promo either. If you told me 30 years later that DDP would be on TNT, I was like, oh, come on, that's enough.
That was ridiculous.
I was MJF tonight. I really, really was.
When DDP came out, I was like, I tweeted out in all caps, please give the Diamond Cutter to Mad Max Theodore Roosevelt. I didn't think he was actually going to do it. Like, that's stupid. Maximus Theodore Roosevelt should have beaten him down. He's a 75-year-old man.
Well, they wrestled around the same time. Actual Theodore Roosevelt and DDP. They were born in the same year. But now DDP is booked next week for a wrestling match.
My God. Like,
Jesus.
Of all the things AEW shouldn't steal from WWE, putting over old timers over your current roster is top on my list. Well, do not do that.
There seems to be a trend with this, right? And I don't want to necessarily start. NWA is doing the exact same thing. They have the Rock and Roll Express currently. They're tag team champions. And guess who popped up this week on Power? They got friggin' Scott Steiner showing up. And you know that he's not going to just lay down and do the job. There's going to be, there's a little more something to it. Then you have DDP here. I don't know, man. I agree with Alex. It's a little strange, these types of strategies.
DDP wrestled on WCW Nitro, I think 25 years ago, 1995, against Johnny B. Bad, and here we are, 2020. It's happening. Cody not being out there was ridiculous. His brother was there, unless we're given a reason that I didn't hear. Why the hell wouldn't Cody be there?
Oh, commentary said, Cody's already left the building. What? He just walked back. He's in the shower.
What they could have easily done was, one of the stipulations that MJF laid out was that you can't touch me ever, or the matches will never have the match with me. So have him come out halfway down the ramp and have Arn Anderson holding him back, saying, if you want this match, you can't, whatever. Like, if you don't want to actually get involved in the brawl, fine. I don't understand why he's not out there at all.
Or have him beat up everybody but MJF, and then hold his punch.
Sure.
Like, I was about to kick your ass, but I want this match. Damn, man. Rough, dude. Jurassic Express defeated the Best Friends and Orange Cassidy.
Most over match of the night.
By far. You got a bunch of over people in a good match and a good finish, and I like that. I dig the roster, or the things resetting, because it's like one season you have a bad season, the next season you turn it around, you're in the playoffs all of a sudden. I kind of dig that. How do you feel about this?
I look, Marco Stunt getting the hometown crowd reaction was fantastic. Orange Cassidy continues being over. I like Chucky T working on his pre-APA Bradshaw cosplay tonight. I thought that was pretty good. Look, Jungle Boy looked really, really good. I thought that Luchasaurus's kicks were, a couple of them were a little soft.
Towards hamstring, man. Personally, I was shocked to see him back so early.
Yeah, so I think he just has to be careful and maybe transfer a bit of his offense. But look, I mean, this had it hit all the right notes, and it was such a refreshing match. They should have put this right after Statlander and Rio, knowing what kind of cluster it was going to be. That would have just lifted everyone's spirits. It was a shame that we got it so far down the card, but when it did happen, it did feel good to be able to be happy about something.
And I mean, the thing is, Luchasaurus didn't take that much time off with his injury. Like, he just didn't. And if it was, it was rumored that it was like a torn hamstring or something. He wrestled every single month after that, even though he had a little bit of time off here and there. That ain't good, man. If you dealt with any type of hamstring injury, that's rough. So I hope it's not still bothering him. Well, main event segment, it's Chris Jericho throwing a bit of a party for Jon Moxley, making his decision for the Inner Circle. And Jon Moxley accepts the invitation to the Inner Circle. I thought that the finish of this was one of the better things on the show, even though you saw it coming from a mile away. Predictable ain't bad if it's just good. And this was good. He was like, I can't be bought, so I'm joining Inner Circle.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
And he celebrated with him before cracking a little bit of the bubbly over Chris Jericho's head. And he hits some gnarly paradigm shift death riders, whatever the hell you want to call them.
Yep.
Sammy Guevara took an awesome one. This ruled, guys. Alex, I see you eager to talk about this.
Yeah, no, I thought, here's the thing. The predictable thing was he was going to say no. So when he came out and he said, I didn't come here for the money. I came here to run roughshod over professional wrestling, and the way to do that is the Inner Circle. And I was like, so when's he going to say just kidding?
Yeah.
And as the thing went on, I was like, still waiting for the other shoe to drop, and it didn't, and it didn't, and it didn't, until I was like, holy crap, are they really going with this? And that's when Moxley was like, hey, Chris, by the way, I was just kidding. I was I'm going to join the Inner Circle. And just the look on Jericho's face was like, oh, damn. Because he knew he was holding the bottle and he knew everything was going to happen, but he was powerless to stop it. I thought this was all perfect. Like John Moxley, especially the way he said it. I was just kidding. Like, it was just perfect line reading. Loved it.
I would have popped it like Moxley had said, I know this weekend you tried to run into me so that we could talk about it, but I was purposefully avoiding you. I had kind of just a little something like that.
They mentioned Wrestle Kingdom in the promo too.
Yeah, they did.
Yes, that's right. To me, I like the ending, but to me the main event segment here was indicative of the entire show. It was just mistimed. The show clearly finished early, and they had a little too much time to kill because the whole segment, it felt like they restarted the party 3 times to get to the angle. And it started getting awkward to me. I was like,
they ran out of champagne to squirt all over the place.
Exactly. It's like, they were trying real hard to get the carbonation going. It was getting kind of weird at some point in the ring, if you know what I mean. But the thing is
if you want to get your carbonation going, visit BlueChew.com, code Fightful. Shoot everywhere. Give her.
Sean and I are going on the road with our act soon.
Yes.
But that's the main problem I had with the angle at the end. It's they were clearly killing some time, and everything just felt awkward. I like. Look, don't get me wrong. The cracking the bottle across Chris Jericho's skull is a great visual. I like Sammy Guevara's shtick with the signs. During the commercials. It's real good. It's real good. I think it's fantastic. He has to keep that.
That and the Jericho walking around backstage thing are the only 2 things that have kept my attention on any picture-in-picture commercial of late. Like, over the past year, probably. Those 2 things. Because you don't have to guess what's going on. You can see what's going on. It's awesome.
Being fed. Yeah, absolutely. But this is good. I mean, it was inevitable that this was going to be the outcome. That's the main event that's going to happen at Revolution. It's something we want to see. So I'm all for it. But I just felt, my God, it closed the show in such a way that it just made complete sense in the entire context of tonight's Dynamite. Tonight's Dynamite felt like a WWE show for all the wrong reasons. It finishes with a main event angle that sort of dragged on. They tried some weird angles that didn't connect. The in-ring wrestling wasn't there. The matches were a little short and a lot of meaningless stuff happening. It was just real drab tonight.
That was NXT. That was AEW. Guys, I know a lot of you are always asking me do more features for non-AEW, non-WWE stuff. I have a big one dropping in the morning. A guy named Chris Michaels. Maybe you've heard of him. Maybe you haven't. It's pretty wild, the story, how I even came to know him personally. But he's done spots on TV for WCW, for WWF, for TNA. He did one for Impact last year, main eventing a Twitch show with John Morrison. He coached at the Performance Center earlier this year, and there's an interesting bit to that story at the end of it. It is a 7,000-word long form. I've got a full interview, video interview dropping in the morning. I really want you guys to check this out. He's had a lot of ups, a lot of downs. Man detached his retina and then came back and wrestled. Like, it's kind of impressive. He's been so close to having, like, the shot. And if you see the guy, you would say, yeah, I could see him fitting right into 2002, 2003 TNA, and he was almost there. He tells you why that didn't happen. He tells you about the feedback he got from his WWF spots, from TNA, from a lot of places. He was brought into OVW by Jim Cornette to help mold guys like Shelton Benjamin, Randy Orton, and Brock Lesnar, to help them get better in the ring. His story is pretty great, and you'll hear a little bit more about him even after that interview. But it's a very cool connection that we were able to make and do this interview. Check it out. It drops 11 a.m. Eastern Thursday morning. I'm doing a lot more independent wrestling interviews as well. So make sure you guys check that out. But Warren, what do you got going on this week?
Well, I'll be back on Friday for the post SmackDown recap with Sean right here on Sean's channel. Otherwise, I have my own show tomorrow evening that I record live 9 p.m. Eastern on youtube.com/Mr. Warren Hayes. A lot of you subscribing. Thank you for that. So come join me for that. It's going to be real exciting. Going to be talking about Wrestle Kingdom. We're going to be talking about this tonight. I'm looking forward to it.
Alex, you will be back on Fightful this weekend at some time doing Sour Graps. You covered Raw this past week as well.
Yes, twice a week, every week. I subject myself to the torture of Monday Night Raw and SmackDown, and then not even the big angles do I get that angry about, but the littlest things I start screaming about, and I can feel my blood pressure spiking. One of these days, I'm going to die live during one of these podcasts. You can watch it because I stream them on Fightful Select.
We had the list in your boy again tonight. It was the first time Jimmy and I had done a podcast like that in about almost a month because of the holiday break, always landing on Wednesdays. Make sure you guys check that out. I will have an Impact post-show this weekend for Hard to Kill. I'll talk a little bit about NXT UK in case you wanted to hear about people who look exactly like the three guys that you're watching on this podcast. I feel like we could, if you told somebody that we were the NXT UK Trios champion,
yep.
One, they would believe it, and two, they'd have no goddamn clue that there weren't Trios champions in NXT UK. Until next time, guys, leave a thumbs up. Make sure you guys subscribe. Check out Fightful.com. We're out.